Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all everywhere. I am Tanetta Marie, and I am I'm not finishing, still telling stories on my series. And so I recently, if y'all see band-aids, it's because I don't want nobody to hit me in my arms. So I'm gonna keep these on for a few days. I got a cortisone shot. I'm trying to avoid surgery, so we're gonna see what's gonna happen. And then I got a nice little boost immunization shot. So, nevertheless, I want to keep going on the domestic violence. I wasn't sure what I was going to speak on today, but I started my first one with stalking, and so I thought I'd continue with stalking. And so I want to see if I can get two stories in there, but if I can't, then I'll just do the one. And so remember, there are different types of abuse. There is physical abuse, that including like hitting you and slapping you and preventing you from calling the police. That would be physical abuse. That actually would be a terrorist attack charge. And there is emotional abuse, which include humiliating, belittling you, isolating you, sexual abuse and coercion, trafficking, making you have sex with someone else, making you have sex with them that you don't want, or sexual acts even in a marriage that you don't want, and you've shared like it's painful, it's whatever it is, it's not in alignment with what your marriage vows are or what you agreed to, or even having you take drugs or alcohol to have sex, financial abuse, which is like refusing you access to money. It could be your money, it could be the both of you guys' money, access to clothes, so you're pretty limited where you can go because you don't have appropriate clothes to go outside, or any shoes. And then stalking is what I'm going to talk about again today. Stalking is anything from harassing, harassing on like text messages, social media messages, constantly. It doesn't even have to be someone you know, and they're just constantly sending you messages. I remember someone throughout the years, it's been about 10 years to this day, like this year of 2022. And so it's been about 10 years, maybe even like 12 or 15. Intermittently, I will get a phone call. I've changed my number and still got a phone call. So I don't know who they know that they managed to get my new number and then try to lie and say I gave it to them. Never happened. And so even gave me a fake name throughout the years. I found out who it really was. That is abuse. It's a type of abuse. It's stalking me. I don't want to be contacted. I've let them know I don't want to be contacted. They used to send me inappropriate pictures. And then this year kind of got down on me, like, why won't I give them a chance? So they really, to me, really just have some kind of psychological issue going on that they don't recognize that is harassment. And so stalking could also be unwanted gifts, unwanted phone calls, showing up at your job, or showing up across the street from your job, like waving or whatever. All of those things are harassment and could deem a restraining order against someone. There are rights to protect you if that's what's happening to you. So I wanted to keep going with the stories, and my next story is before I get to this story, sorry, let me give you some resource, because last time I didn't. I had to put it in the comments. And so the National Domestic Violence Hotline is 1-800-799-SAFE, and SAFE is 7233. So that's 1-800-799-7233. It's 24 hours and it's confidential. There's also the San Diego County District Attorney's Office Victim Services. Their central number is 619-531-4041. The south number is 619-498-5650. I am coming out of the San Diego area, so that is why I sent it. I assume that people who do see me are probably people I know. So I did not leave out everybody else. I did give you a national domestic violence hotline. I just wanted to make sure that my local people did know that there was something that they could do, that they could call. Also, San Diego is a plethora. There is the Center for Community Solutions, YMCA San Diego, and I'm pretty sure the YMCA offers services across the board. I should look into that. There's the South Bay Community Service, the Women's Resource Center, and the Community Resource Center. So if you need those numbers as well, I will give them to you. I just really wanted to make sure that the national number was out there, as you can call that at any time, and remember it by 1-800-799-SAFE. Nevertheless, going into stalking, having those examples of unwanted gifts and making unwanted phone calls. I told you about a gentleman who liked me a lot, and it became a stalking situation. It became a stalking situation to the point where it was a little scary, and I ended up having to move out immediately and was out of my house within 24 hours. So that brought me to, I want to get 2 stories out, but I'm not really sure. So, well, I did share that one about the young man who's been contacting me for years. So let me see. So I had a person who I really liked at one point in time. I really liked him. I thought he was cool. I thought he was like the one. And things did not go well because I was in a space where it was like I thought I was ready to move forward, but I wasn't. And I expressed that to him. I was like, I thought I was over my ex. I'm not over my ex. I don't want to be back with my ex, but because my ex contacted me and triggered some emotions, I don't think it's fair for me to say I'm ready to move on. And I don't want to be in a relationship where it just wasn't fair to him. And so he took it kind of hard. And I respected it and understood it, and I took it hard too. I cried. I didn't expect to be in that space of hurting someone. I didn't expect to be in the space of having emotions going this way and that way. So I totally got it. When I told him, I was compassionate and gave him hugs, and the feeling was mutual because I really was heartbroken. I just did not expect that from myself at all. So nevertheless, it was the right thing to do, especially before the relationship got too deep. I wasn't his girlfriend for long. I had just became like literally in like weeks. And so it was perfect timing to me, like, you know what, I'm better now than later. So we later became friends. a little bit longer later down the road. So there's more to that story. I'm just really trying not to get into all of that right now because I'm trying to figure out where would it be. Okay, guys, I can kind of share it. So I can put these two stories together. I think, let's see, it's a matter of time. It's already 10 minutes in. So I had, been contacted by both him and my ex, asked me for some time, said, hey, can I spend a little time with you? And both of them already had these great plans. And I told my ex no. And I told the current gentleman that I was breaking up with, like, it's not fair it's not fair. He asked me and now you're asking me. I just don't think it's fair. Nevertheless, he was like, already bought things, already planned. Okay, long story short, so I said, you know what, if that's the case, I'm going to be fair and see them both. I'm going to, because what I was doing was spending time by myself. I didn't want to make a decision between the two of them. I just wanted to spend time by myself. And so because I was going to isolate myself, both of them asked me for my time before I went on my sabbatical. And so I agreed and spent time with one person and gave them a date because I would no longer see them after that particular date. And then the other person, I gave them that date because I would no longer see them after that particular date. And so I spent my time, had a good time with the first one, immaculate time. And it was cool. It was very, very cool. It was very, very innocent and respectful. And I really appreciated it. And then I then spent time with the other gentleman, just spending that time, just trying to see. It really tickled my interest because I thought it was done and over with anyway. So I did not want to choose between the two of them, but I did want to entertain the idea of why did this tickle not my fantasies, my interest when I thought I'm over. It was like a year, and so or close to it. And so it really just really made me have all kind of questions. Nevertheless, so we hung out. We had a really good time. Really, really good time. I don't think we really talked too much about woulda, couldas, and shouldas because it was more about let's just hang out, no pressure, and we had a really phenomenal time. And my time with him was different than they were two different people. They had two different plans, and so cool. So while my ex was visiting me at my house, both of them visited me at my house. While my ex was visiting in my house, he actually came over to the house. It wasn't the first time he came over, and the first time I totally understood because I was his then girlfriend, which got me to the place of I'm not ready. So by this time, I'm no one's girlfriend. And the gentleman came over while the other gentleman was over, walked in my house, was never invited, beat all on my doors. My son had texted me, so we went in the room, locked the door, and I asked the gentleman, my ex, could he respectfully not address the other gentleman because I live here. I don't want any problems. Accidents happen. I don't want there to be them scuffling and hurt each other, kill each other, especially over something foolish. It's a girl, and it's not even that serious. So I had no obligations to either one, and so I really felt bad and just decided to elect just to keep it to myself. Nevertheless, It was awful. I didn't like it at all. I didn't like that it made my company feel uncomfortable. I didn't even like that it made him feel like, I'm a man, I need to be addressing this. And I respected that he respected me, and I really appreciated that. That means a lot to me, more than anything. And so afterwards, I went on my merry way. I did not choose either one of them at that particular time. It really wasn't about choosing either one of the men. It just really hurt my feelings that that one would show off, especially because I had such high esteem for his demeanor, and so and seeing that it was the second time of just showing up at the house, regardless, I found it to be disrespectful. Moving on with my life, I forgave him and said, this is where I'm at. We agreed to be friends, and I liked our friendship. It was very, very limited because I was focused in a different relationship, and so very, very limited. And I eventually was, single and totally single. And he said, hey, he had said, I can still continue to be your friend. I could really just be your friend. And I said, that's all I could handle, just being friends. I need you to be that friend. And because I know him really close and I knew other people who knew him too, I thought, he's gonna well behave. He had a certain title, which made me feel very comfortable. And so I thought, he made a mistake and we're friends. That friendship was starting to blossom, but not for me. And I would see it. I adored his company and I adored him, but I pretty much knew that there were times when I'm questioning it, of course, like, man, is that Mr. Right in my face and I don't know it? And things became a little bit more aggressive in gift giving and, coming over like all of the time. And when I'm saying, I'm just gonna have some quiet time to myself, or being available at any time for me. And it was like, there were other options. If something happened, there were other options for me to choose, but being so aggressive to say, oh no, I'll come and help you, I'll come and do it. And or I'm saying, oh, I really need this product, I'm gonna order it. And I ordered it that day, and the next day he brought the product, and I'm like, I ordered it, you know that I ordered it. So it became uncomfortable. Like, I'm in a space where I am trying to learn my own self-worth and get away from, what's going on in my life, the chaos with men, and so, or finding myself in situations that I'm like, man, that was never the intentions, and look, I'm hurting someone's feelings. So I really was in that space of, I don't want to hurt your feelings, and even said that, a few times, like, I don't want to hurt you because I'm not sure where I'm going in my life. I'm not even sure what I want. And it wasn't even about the two men or anything like that. It was just, I'm in a space where I was starting this journey, the 2-year journey that happened 2 years ago. And so it was like, I am learning to love myself different. I'm learning my value, and I don't want a man to validate those yet. The compliments are nice, but that's not what I want in my life right now, because I don't want the obligation of, I don't want to be in a relationship by default because of the obligation. I want to fall in love with who I'm with purely because I'm just totally head over heels with them. And it wasn't that I couldn't get there, but the pushing and pushing, the aggressive behavior, the subtle aggressive behavior, even some backlash, like little comments based on how I lived my life when he wasn't part of my life, was like, hey, this, pushing me away. And so ultimately, I learned some information that I knew but could never confirm it. I had stopped talking to someone, so I couldn't confirm it. And when the person finally did tell me, which was the ex, told me, it was the ex, the two of them had a clash, told me what happened. He was dropping something off, or a cat for me or something. I think he was babysitting the kitten or something, I don't know. But nevertheless, he was dropping the cat off, and the young man had said, oh, I'm gonna, go pick some stuff up for you. I had been sick. And he said, oh, I'll get dinner and I'll, help you out. And I was like, okay, cool. And I intentionally said, I don't want you guys to cross the path, because there's tension, there's past tension. I just don't want it. I'm not in a relationship, so I don't want, there's nothing for me to say, like, I don't want you two to cross paths. Okay, I can do that for you. That is not what happened. And the timetables of things that happened were intentional. And so I felt it, I knew it, it only made sense. And when I got the verification of it, it really, really bothered me. It hurt my feelings, because I was like, like, I knew it, but it just was a lot. And he was very offended, pretty much cussed me out on the phone because I questioned the validity of what he had told me, and saying it doesn't match the time we talked about it. That being said, there were excessive gifts, excessive, no matter how many times I would say don't, there were all these gifts, knocking at my door, telling me, oh, I just wanted to drop this by. Do you need any extra food? And I was like, no, I don't. And I needed that time, and I needed him to understand that I needed the time to process me without him. And it was really, it let me know that my boundaries weren't strong. It let me know of the mistakes that I make, like trying to befriend after a situation, because that was pretty consistent in my life, a lot. Always forgiving, always having that what did I tell you? I was reading a book with I think it was called You Are Enough, with Rainey Howard, how you can pretty much be in oblivious to the situation, because you're always trying to see the greater good in people. And that definitely is my heart, but it's bit me in the butt a lot of times. So these stories might go, girl, how did you not know? So there will be a lot of those, but this particular time was my pivotal moment of change. It was my moment of, okay, he's probably the least person that I expected to do this. And so it was my pivotal moment of, man, and then it really hurt my feelings that it hurt, someone else. It hurt my ex, because that was never the intention. It was never, and so it was just more of, let me respect him. I'm not with him. I'm not with him. But I still want to respect the space, that they're in. They have not fought and glory be to God, but the tension is thick. So I want to make sure that if you can't respect it, then let's not do it. And I was assured, no, it will be respected. Those are types of abuse when someone is taking advantage and manipulating your space. That is abuse. It took me a long time to understand that and really, if you don't know better, you don't know better, and you feel it. You feel the dysfunction, but you don't quite know that it is dysfunctional. I'm sorry. I have my my phone propped up on this little thing, and it is shaking like crazy. So I'm trying to get it to stop, but it ain't happening. So nevertheless, so I'm trying to tie them. I know I'm 25 minutes in. There are a bunch of stories within the stories, and I would rather just get them all out. And so, in contrast to that story, I had an ex who, in between what we were going through, was deciding what he wanted in life. I want you, I don't want you, I want you, I don't want you. And I pretty much was going through the same thing. I want to be back, I don't want to be back, I want to be back, and so by the time that we were like, okay, let's do this, and he made the decision, like, you know what, this is, this is the way it should be. We just really need to do this the right way. Well, before we decided to do this the right way, there was someone on the side that he was talking to. And so I really don't know the scope of the relationship. I only know what he told me. And so it was nothing serious based on what he told me. And but because I had seen a few red flags, I knew that she wanted it to be serious, because he and I were friends. We attended the same church. We did a lot of the same things, and so we would, pass each other, talk to each other, and not focus on the past. It just was more of hey, how you doing, and keep it moving. I really don't want to have nothing to do with you. I don't want to have nothing to do with you either, and so eventually, when we decided to get back together, she did not appreciate it and said, I'll hang around you. You can call me anytime, and apparently, I guess he called. And while we were still trying to figure out, like, what's going on between us, and she came over to the house, and it is why I started my YouTube journey. My then therapist was like, you think you're transparent? Be transparent and heal in the journey. And it was really weird because there were a lot of things that I couldn't say because it was an ongoing case. And so the ongoing case is that she, like the gentleman who came to my house, bombarded his way in my house, she came to his house while I was there. And knowing that I was there, just like the gentleman knew he was here by our cars, she knew it, and was extensive with making sure that he knew that, she was there. And so out of respect, go answer the door, go, let her know respectively, like, you moved on, and let's, close that chapter. And that is not what happened. And I got in my car to leave, but because some other extenuating situations, without me really sharing everything, I think it is in my other things. Yeah, so I love children. If they're your children, I'm gonna love them like they're my own. They're my babies. And so she wanted to get close to the children, and that was not healthy for me. So I was going to protect those children. loving them, loving their father, and respectively loving their mother from afar, because they are the parents of those kids. And they were embedded in my heart. So it was like, whoa, no, not the children. We're not going to get the children involved here. And so he and I, pretty much were in agreement, like, okay, whatever we can do to make sure that she's not getting in the house to the children, because that was her goal, to get in the house to the children. Maybe it was more than that, but that we definitely saw that clearly. And so calling me out of my names, calling him out of his names, it was really, really bad. I regret staying there on so many levels because of what went down, but I also am happy that I did stay on so many levels, because it could have went totally bad for the kids and for him. It was really bad. So the domestic violence part was, she hit him, and definitely called him out, provoking, very much so. My concern was, whoa, he's doesn't deserve that, doesn't deserve any of this. Like, let me get him so we can, retreat. That is not what happened. It was awful. This one woman, ended up having fought me, hit him multiple times. She did a substantial amount of damage, and it was not damage that you just get into this fight and you're defending yourself. It was vicious, it was malicious, it was intentional. And domestic violence is real. It doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman, domestic violence is real. So he was dealing with physical abuse, emotional abuse, and stalking. And I being there, her knowing that I was there, and learning everything that she said prior, me knowing some of the things that she said prior to me being there, not even knowing me, just because I was his ex, was, being accused of things. She didn't know me. Every time that I would call, for whatever reason, maybe there was a social reason that I needed to call him, like, hey, the church is doing this or whatever, she would get angry, she would get bitter. And so she was stalking me, coming around, hanging around the house, stalking both of us, letting her know, you're not wanted here, we're looking out for you, because she made threats of suicide. Those are emotional abuse. We both were concerned. Even demanding sex with him, like, while I was there, like, oh, you're gonna have sex with me, and just things that were like, what the heck, and alcohol abuse. She was under the influence. I don't know to what great limits, because it didn't seem stupid drunk, but she had been drinking, and from my understanding, she did own a firearm, so at least that's what we think. And so I don't remember all the details of that. The reason I'm bringing all of it up, I need you to understand what abuse is. I was assaulted. I was physically abused. I was stalked. He was assaulted. Apparently, this wasn't her first time, saying really mean things to him. So he was emotionally, verbally abused by her that night as well. Excessive jealousy, and even humiliating him. Like, she was saying really mean things about him and calling him all kind of like things to really provoke him. And he could have responded totally different, not thinking, especially when she hit him. I don't think he thought she was going to do that. I know I didn't, but I did watch it very carefully, to get into that, like, whoa, like, this can't happen, because I was very concerned that he would have reacted and responded, not thinking, well, she's a lady, a woman, and not that it mattered to her. But let's just be honest, if we're calling the police because he's a man, our society has taught us that he doesn't need protection, and she does. And here's a man that's trying not to do anything because he's like, look, you just need to leave, and she's provoking the situation. And so what do you do with that? And so here I was of equal, like, I'm a woman too, so let me kind of jump in the middle of this, like, whoa, stop, this is not good, and telling him, like, focus, we got kids in there, don't want to lose your kids over stupidity. So let it go, and it got worse. Stalking is very, very real. Abuse is very, very real. I think she had contacted him, called him 27 times prior, because the ringer was off. Beat on the door for about 15 minutes before we recognized that that's what it was. We were listening to a loud movie. Text messages that were just absurd. If it's you and you don't know how to handle your emotions, please get help. It's not okay to violate someone's space, someone's emotional state, or it's just not okay. And if you've been abused, please get help, get counseling. It will tear you up. It will eat you up inside, even if you think you've got it. It's going to show up somewhere, somehow, some way. So please make sure you get the help. Sometimes when we're abused, some of us can lash out and abuse. For me, I'm very spiritual, so I believe that you pick up some of those spirits, you have fragments of those spirits, and it rears its head at the ugliest time, and you're going, what the heck? How did I get here? And that's what I was kind of nervous about him. Like, will this girl provoke him into becoming something that he's not? So, two stories that had a bunch of stories in between, but two stories of stalking, how some of this stalking was physical abuse, how one could have been had we walked out the door, and how the other one, or it could have been an assault charge, and how the other one, rather, which man started it. You have to learn to pick your battles, and I'm so grateful that the battle was chosen, not let's just stay in the room and wait for this to go away, and if it gets out of hand, we'll call the police. And the other one getting out of hand and calling the police, taking legal actions to I never want that to happen in my life again, and I wouldn't wish that upon my worst enemy. I am grateful that both situations, although was physical, emotionally draining, or stalking, whatever, I'm grateful I'm alive. A friend's alive, the person who's angry is alive, both of them are alive. I'm just hoping that they've learned their lessons from it, and that they're not pointing the fingers of, oh, they were in the wrong. Mind you, some of the choices that I've made in my life were probably wrong. And I'm sure some of the choices that happened in my ex's house and for him were wrong. But it doesn't give anyone the right to take matters in their own hands, to the point where you're abusing, you're assaulting another person, or you are provoking, that you are in violation. You could be arrested. You're walking in someone's house, by law. I could shoot. You're in my house. You pretty much broke into the house. Nobody invited you. Nobody invited you. Even when my son opened the door, there was never, I don't even think my son opened the door on the second time. I think he just came through the door and my son met him. And I believe my son said, no, he just walked through the door. I think the first time he came over, he knocked. And my son texted me saying, hey, don't open the door, like go in the room and close the door, because it was irrational. So it was a very scary situation. And it took me a few times to bump my head and to realize the unhealthiness of things. I can't fix everyone. I'm not the savior. I can't give everyone a pass, whether it be him or her or, whatever. I can't even keep giving myself passes on certain things. It's like, you gotta grow up. You gotta realize this ain't healthy. And so I'm in that good space. And so I want to make sure that everyone knows that. And let me see if I could have this pamphlet called Understanding Domestic Violence. See if I can turn it around. And there are some really good, and again, this is for San Diego. There's some really good resources on there. There's the National Domestic Violence Hotline. Again, that's 1-800-799-SAFE, 1-800-799-7233. Some love and respect. The District Attorney Office, Victim Services. They're an excellent resource. If you have some legalities going on, they're very supportive. So that's that. Yeah, and remember, broken I'm not, healing I am, victorious I rise, and saved and forgiven I am by God. And you too, broken you're not, healing you'll be if you're not, and victorious you'll rise like a phoenix, and forgiven and saved, God always, no matter how many times, will give you his grace and his mercy. So I wish you all the best, and much love and respect. And I'm sure we can have a discussion on some of this when we do the live. I'm definitely open for critical comments, constructive criticism. In the heat of the moment, it's different than actually watching it. I can watch a football game and say, why didn't you do that? But when I'm in the middle of the football game playing football with friends and everything, it's totally different. Like, I could watch the video and go, dang, I could have did that, woulda, coulda, and shoulda. But when I was in the middle of it, it felt like it was in the middle of a maze. It didn't feel like it was so open, So our soccer or whatever our sports are. So nevertheless, I have so much love for you. You're in my prayers. Keep me in yours. Haters will hate, and we pray for the haters, and supporters will support. And so we pray for you as well. Many blessings to you all, and let your light shine.